Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first AR or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Garth Over.
How are we doing tonight?
Oh, just wonderful. And tonight...
Nicholas, are you there? I think we lost you. Your internet went kaput.
Am I roboting yet, or am I still here?
You were doing the robot voice for sure. Say that again.
Oh, I was going to say we have Garth, and you said hi, and then we also have Boone from CoolFire Trainer.
Hello, how is everybody?
Oh,
Solid.
Just wonderful.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I am way better now than I was earlier today because I had to go to the DMV and get a new driver's license.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so
I got to do that tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, so where we live, they're not open every day. So they're only open like 2 days a week in different towns. And they're like the same 5 people rotate around the state. And it's a whole process.
It's super fun.
Yeah. So before we get rolling here, did you guys do anything cool with guns this week before we jump into CoolFire and Boone?
I did do quite a few cool things this week, man. Just to continue the saga of targets and all things steel, I took a day trip that turned into an overnight trip this week. Disappeared down to Sioux City, Iowa to pick up some Texas Star clay pigeon targets. Got 2 of those. Gonna try one for our 3-gun match coming up here in September. Also picked up a smaller 4-foot Texas Star with like 5-inch steel plates, I believe is what they are. And assembled that tonight before the show. Did not get to test it. So hoping tomorrow I get to do that. Bought some more steel for the giant Texas Star that I'm going to build. And now that I have a plan and watched enough do-it-yourself YouTube videos, I think I know how I can make it without having the conventional spring on the back to hold the targets in place. I mean, it's still going to be a spring, but it's going to be a really rednecked up piece of equipment since it's going to be built out of, square tubing from the farm. And I'm going to actually use a disc plate for the face plate of the target because I can't drill through AR-15 steel because I've tried. I've ruined 3 drill bits now, and I'm not going to ruin a 4th one. So I'm going to use a disc plate instead, and hopefully that works. I mean, you're not going to shoot it directly, so it's just there to protect the stuff from shrapnel, basically.
Yeah.
We'll see if that works. Yeah, spalling, whatever,
that's some good old Appalachian engineering.
Oh,
what did we do before YouTube? Like, how did we work on cars and build projects and that kind of thing before Instagram Reels and YouTube?
Well, you actually went to school and learned and studied and paid attention.
Or you bought a climber manual or a Haynes manual from the auto parts store. It had a subscription to Popular Mechanics to learn how to do things like weld with a dime.
Oh, man, I've tried welding. I am not a welder. And any of our listeners that are, if you'd see my work, you'd be so disappointed in me. I'm disappointed in me. I've learned that I am a grinder and a painter, not a welder, and it's not good. It is ugly. So,
AR Drew says Garth is making Appalachian Americans proud.
I do what I can, Drew. I'm here to please, and not very good at it, but I try.
At pleasing people, we know.
Sorry.
You said those Haynes manuals. I'm 28. I worked at O'Reilly's for 5 years. I remember seeing them and people would buy them, and then all of a sudden nobody bought them, and the plastic turned yellow, and there was like 1/2 inch of dust in the back on them, and went, why aren't people buying these? And I went, oh yeah, YouTube's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That is 100%. I remember my first, vehicle, because I'm a little older than you. I'm 40, and my first, car was an '88 Ford pickup, and I had the Haynes manual for it to work on it, because if I didn't know how to do something, then I had to look up and read how to do it in the manual. And I had them for, Harleys and everything like that, because it was, I'm just going to do this. And now, everyone is a doctorate in YouTube University and learns how to do things.
Finally, somebody else calls it that. I've never heard anybody else call it that. You want to learn how to build an AR? YouTube. You want to learn how to adjust a carburetor? YouTube.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie. I've looked up stuff for the farm on YouTube, because there's a vast following of farmers out there making content now. And I'm just like, I wonder if they know how to do it. Sure enough, they've got it on there. So, no shame.
I have a patch that is on the headliner of my vehicle. It says Pornhub certified armorer. And it was when YouTube, the very first time YouTube started pulling down gun content, a couple channels put all of their videos, all their gun videos on Pornhub.
Oh, somebody did that. I've seen that meme. Somebody did that to a Hickok 45 video, and I think an Iraq veteran 88 video, way back when.
Yeah, Forgotten Weapons, I know, did it. They literally copied all of their content to Pornhub, just because it was, here. And I thought it was funny.
I'm thinking back, like I saw those memes, and I was like, those are some of the first gun memes I saw, and I was like, all right. And then the Tarrant Butler thing happened, and I was like, this just makes it funnier.
Yes, 100%. Garth, you did that. I shot the match on Sunday.
We did do that.
Yep, and I know that last week I talked about I just came back from running matches for a week, and then I did a little bit of gunsmithing, and have some parts in for you, Garth, that I got in today, and we'll have to do some work on that. But beyond that, it's been kind of a slow week for me. Oh, we did. I guess last night we did go out and Garth tested his AR shotgun.
Yeah, I guess we did do that last night. Holy cow, it's been a quick few days. Yeah, I tried to shoot clay pigeons with it. Not too successful with a prism optic on a shotgun to shoot clays out of the air at all. I mean, I hit two.
In your defense, we're doing skeet in about a 45-mile-an-hour crosswind.
We were.
With probably an 18-inch barrel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was super fun. Really cool experience to get away from what Nick and I normally shoot at. So very, very cool.
Drew wants details on the AR shotgun.
Well, Drew, it is a Rock Island Armory V8, 80?
VZ.
I don't know, dude. I don't know the brand. Nick ordered it for me. Ask Nick.
Why do you automatically he knows what it is?
Because you ordered it for me. Because I went, I want something like that. Please find something cool in my price range. And you went, okay.
It's a VR80. It's a Rock Island Armory VR80. And then after that, we pulled the atrocious furniture on the rear of it for the stock and grip off and put actual standardized furniture on it. So it's adjustable. Yes. It does not go with the stock does not currently go with the rest of Garth's Stormtrooper Hello Kitty motif, but
okay. So yes, it's an all white gun, and the furniture I took off, I had a buddy Cerakote a vertical grip and my pistol grip for it in hot pink, because who doesn't want a white shotgun with hot pink furniture on it? And then I had a buttstock for it, but I didn't realize the buttstock tube on the shotgun was not compatible with the Magpul stock I had Cerakoted. So when I put it on there, I split the stock in half, because it went on, but it wouldn't go on the correct way. And so I used a mallet and got it there. and then tried to take it off, and then ended up snapping the stock in half. So I have to get a new one Cerakoted in hot pink, because if you're going to do something stupid, go full in on it. But yeah, it runs fine, Drew. It's a super cool gun.
The reason behind that is they ship it with a commercial spec buffer tube and not a mil spec. And commercial spec is almost a thing of the past.
But yeah, I didn't even think commercial spec still existed.
I honestly didn't know it was a thing until I found out about it on my shotgun, and I paid the price on a $60 stock. So things happen.
Yeah, that's okay. You knew a guy who had one.
I did. And I just swapped out stocks and away we went. But
y'all are going to be mad at me, but I need like 15 seconds. We'll be right back.
Oh, that's fine. Yep. You're more than fine. We'll keep talking about it. But no, yes, it does run good. As AR shotguns go, that is one of the better ones that isn't a Genesis. And they do run.
Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
They are not hard, like they don't have like a direct impingement gas system or anything like that, but they are easy to work on as well.
Yeah, their price point is substantially different than the Genesis, which makes it all the more reason to buy one, just because if you don't want to spend $3,000 on a shotgun, and honestly, who wants to spend $3,000 on any gun? I mean, I know there's guns out there. I know you do, yes, but the vast majority is not going to just want to drop $3,000 on one specific firearm. I did it once. I didn't have it very long, and yeah, so no, this thing runs fine so far. I haven't had any major issues with
it. You mean something like that? $3,000 on something like that?
Yes, a staccato.
Yeah.
It's a work gun. I wish it was mine, but it's a work gun.
But yes, Royce, VR80 AR shotgun is what Garth was talking about. So when Boone got into this, we'll ask Boone if he did anything cool with guns, but Boone does all kinds of cool things. So
indeed I do. Cool this week. I have the fortune, I get to shoot pistols for a living. So I do shooting stuff Monday through Friday, along with my personal time. My wife calls my gun hobby the non-secret love affair, because I've always kind of loved guns. But personally, what I've done this week, my grandpa, who lived in Western Oklahoma, started a rescue team back in the 60s and 70s. So like high water rescue, tornadoes, things like that, and was a deputy sheriff, like or a reserve, whatever you called it back then, like the volunteer guys that would have bubble lights on their personal cars and that kind of thing. He was wealthy, but a very plain dude. Was the grandpa in cargo shorts and compression socks and New Balances. Didn't ever really spend money. Bought a new pickup every 7-8 years. He had this nickel-plated, it's a K-frame, before they made the Model 10 Smith & Wesson. 2-inch barrel that was aftermarket nickel and gold plated. I wish I would have brought it in here to show a picture. With pearl grips and a Tyler T grip. So like not a deputy's gun at all, but it is awesome. And I've been wanting to shoot revolvers. We'll get into it. I shoot semi-autos all the time. Grew up shooting semi-autos. Never really shot double action revolvers a whole lot. And I asked my dad. I said, "Hey, where's that gun at?" He said, "It's in my safe because we found it in a like a filing cabinet in a bag of graphite. Like nobody knew he had it. It was just kind of hanging out." Dad said, "Clean it up and shoot it. I don't care." So that was something cool for me. Was like trying to get graphite and 50, 60-year-old scratches out of this nickel and gold plated pearl handled 2-inch 38 special.
Nice.
That is awesome. And it sounds like a project I would love and hate at the same time.
Oh, it's nasty. It was never cleaned. I was spraying bore cleaner down the barrel, and cleaning a revolver is weird because the cylinder swings out. So like when you're scrubbing it, right, there's just stuff going everywhere. It's not like a Glock. You can pull the barrel out and scrub it separately. It's like, oh, I just wiped it down and it's nasty again.
See, and that is why I have an ultrasonic. Then you just remove
I need one
grip,
for my can.
Drop the whole works in it and walk away. But Boone, why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be working in the firearms space?
Yeah. So, my name's Boone. I'm from the Tulsa, Oklahoma area where CoolFire is based. I grew up always kind of loving guns, loving being around guns, watching old like History Channel, Wild West, Billy the Kid, Jesse James, starting out with like the old single actions and the Winchesters. And then as I've gotten older, I was watching like the American Guns, Sons of Guns, like the mid first Obama term when the guns TV shows were rampant. They were on every network. Grew up watching them, and then I saw one where they went to SHOT Show, and I was like, "Man, this is awesome." Went to school, ironically for not what I do now. I went to school for recreation and wildland firefighting, and got out of school in 2020. So uh, we all know what the world was doing from 2020 to 2022. So it was a weird place. Started
what a
working.
time to be alive.
I was in Vegas when the world shut down. We'll talk about that later. That was cool. But I was working a retail job at O'Reilly's, like I'd had before college, just kind of making ends meet, you know. And my sister was really good friends with the company owner's daughter. They went to college together, and just working my $11 an hour job, whatever, being miserable but loving it at the same time, you know. Just didn't have a ton of money, but I was like, hey, we're cool. And then I sent my resume in, and they were like, yeah, let's interview you. And they offered me a job the same day as the interview, and I was like, oh, so I work in the gun industry now. This is weird.
Neat. Yes, that is like the serendipitous things that happen where people are like, so I knew a guy and I put it, then suddenly I'm here. I had no idea what I was doing. and
that's what's wild. When I went to SHOT in 2023, I got there, and my dad texted me right after I got done setting the booth up. He said, you've been wanting to do this since you were 12. Like, my dad had buddies that ran gun shops, and I was like, see if you can get us tickets to go to SHOT Show, because I thought you could just buy tickets, right? I didn't know it was like an application process, and like you have to be somebody that does something within the gun industry. And I was like, I've been waiting on this for 12 years to be able to stand here and go, I'm at SHOT Show.
I know the feeling.
I as well. So
yeah, and then the first time you go, like I have worked booths at SHOT Show before, but like the first time you go, just as an attendant, you walk in and it's like, oh wow, it is completely overwhelming, and then you realize there's 3 more floors.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy to get lost there. It's easy to go squirreling down a
random
aisle. And then
I turned my Onyx on, so that way when I had to go to the bathroom, whatever, I turned my Onyx on so it would tell me where I went, so I knew the path to take back.
Well, that's smart. Yeah, I didn't think anything like that. It was just, I hope I can find Nick again.
Well, in your defense of that, I generally am pretty easy to find at SHOT Show because there's not many guys that are 6'4" wearing a cowboy hat and a Hawaiian shirt wandering around SHOT Show.
Actually, there was more than we thought, though.
Yeah, it's the number was astonishingly high, but that's because it was greater than 1.
Correct.
Well, don't you know cowboy hats and Hawaiian shirts are the Boogaloo uniform?
Never heard that in my life.
You see, that was, and people thought it was just like something that we adopted because of the Boog thing. And it was just like, no, this is literally just like what I wear.
Yeah. I have 27 Hawaiian shirts in my closet. It's not a Boog thing. It's just my fashion statement because I'm a big guy and that's what it's comfortable anymore.
What's that thing? It was never a phase, Mom.
That's right. It was never a phase.
I wasn't a Hawaiian shirt guy until I discovered retro rifle, and now I'm like, all right, I can get down with a leopard print with Glocks and AK-47s on it. Let's go.
Well, and like I grew up running on the river a lot here with a boat and stuff like that. So I, in high school, was always wearing a Hawaiian shirt because, well, it was easy to take on and off, and a lot of them were, made to get wet in a strange time called the 90s. And I was doing that, and then like all of a sudden 20 years later they kind of came back in style, and surprisingly enough they all fit course, they weren't loose and flowing as they were back in the day, but they still fit.
They do. And now we've got stuff like Camarado out there, which is made for barbecue sexy size guys like myself.
But, well, that is kind of the saga of SHOT Show and Hawaiian shirts. But let's talk about CoolFire now. So, Boone, for people who don't know what CoolFire is, explain, like, give us your 30-second elevator pitch of what CoolFire is.
So CoolFire Trainer is a drop-in barrel and recoil spring for your handgun for dry fire training. When charged with CO2, it gives you roughly 70 to 80% felt recoil. Your sight picture is breaking, your trigger is resetting. The best part is it's all in your handgun. We're not shooting some clicky non-gun. We're not shooting a piece of plastic that doesn't fit your holster. It is your gun in your holster with your red dot, with your flashlight. Training your way.
Yeah, now that is awesome. And so it does recoil, and they are laser capable as well.
Correct. Invisible and IR for shooting simulators and then guys that want to practice under mods.
Very cool.
Yes, which is awesome. So you can use it with like the laser app like I have, or probably the Strikeman project, and all of those things. And you do get the benefit of having recoil.
And you're not having to reset the trigger. Recoil, I could care less about, right? Yes, it's great, but most of the time, if you are USPSA, IDPA, concealed carry shooter, LE, when you come up out of the holster and pull that trigger, you're not focusing on the recoil. You're focusing on the sight picture and your trigger breaking and coming back. So,
yeah. No, that is very much so a thing, because not having to. So I was saying before the show that I was doing some, like I put my belt on and was doing some dry fire practice earlier tonight, and it was, yep, okay. And, I just get used to, I pull the trigger, brake, go back, rack the slide, go back into the holster, go back to draw for presentation. And that in itself can become a systemic issue.
Correct.
Because you can build a training scar with that. And that is a thing of, oh, hey, I'm going to do like a couple thousand reps of this to practice my trigger squeeze. And then the next thing you know, you will pull up to shoot and then automatically go to break that and rack that slide because you've practiced it so many times in dry fire.
Mm-hmm. And we've all seen that in a class on a firing line. Somebody shoots and then they turn the gun sideways and rack the slide again. And then there's a live round that goes out.
Oh yeah. And like I will say, like, there are times I am the king of training scars because I have several of them from, time immemorial that I have done things, and it's, oh, hey, I learned that and it's stuck in my head, and then I have to train my way out of it. So having the capability to, use a product that resets everything so you can, one, train yourself out of those training scars, but two, use your firearm and then still activate to do that dry fire training and get the feel of your trigger is still the major thing.
Well, you guys want to see it?
Yeah, we would love to see it.
Absolutely.
All right, so this is my personal Glock 19 and my carry holster. So it's my RMR, my TLR7, and we're just going to show empty, it's empty. It's as simple as taking your weapon down. Come on.
Oh, come on. You're starting to look like the director of the ATF.
Didn't take me that long, all right? Okay, so live barrel and spring come out. The CoolFire barrel and spring. And you will notice on the CoolFire barrel there is no chamber, so there's no way to load live ammo. We drop it into our slide like you would if you are putting it back together.
And now
then
it's
you,
ready to rock and roll.
Yep, with either, I got backwards. So paintball tank, CO2, or like SodaStream, like you can buy them at Walmart.
Yep.
Like they're holding it loose, and it's wanting to jump out of my hand.
So
and then right back into my same holster. So if I wanted to practice IWB draws.
Yeah, no, that is okay. So we have a question here. Dusky asks, how does it work with mags?
Perfect. So the answer to that, I didn't have a mag in it there. So I have a factory Glock mag. Everybody can see it's factory Glock. It does have a mantis on the end, but that does nothing. So included with every CoolFire unit are these tap rack inserts. When loaded into a magazine with no bullets on it, let me charge again.
How many shots do you get out of a when you charge your barrel up like that?
About a mag's worth. And then, so we can see our other way. Magazines in. So just a dummy follower to defeat the mag catch. And then if you wanted to say work on one shot and then reload, you just don't load it in. Drop the mag, and you're back to work.
Oh, right on. Very cool.
So that is awesome. And could you put that that tap rack follower on top of like a loaded mag or one that was loaded down once you have the weight?
Yep. I do it with dummy rounds personally just because I don't like mixing any of my ammo with dry fire. But you can do it with live ammo. You can do it with dummy rounds. I've even had customers who did a sacrificial mag, like for Glocks or some of the others that have ETS mags or magful mags, something like that. They put a follower in it, and then they take the base plate off and put fishing weights or something like that in it so they get some realistic weight, and they're not putting wear and tear from dropping them on the ground or anything on a carry mag.
So Drew asked, do you guys have a showroom in Tulsa? He's about 2 hours away and needs to check it out.
We don't officially have a showroom. Reach out to my customer support team, support@CoolFire Trainer, and we can probably set something up, which brings up something so you guys see kind of the hardware. We have some software coming out too, a virtual shooting range in your house that is going to be affordable. We're talking sub $2,500 for the whole kit and caboodle. So that's camera, that is projector, that is software, that is a CoolFire recoil kit. And it's going to have several different things in it that I'm not going to go full on in depth, but some like USPSA, Steel Challenge, some of that kind of stuff.
Very cool. I like that a lot.
Now that is awesome. And I'm just looking here because people are going to ask, oh, what can I get it for? Because it's not just for Glock. So I'm just going to read through, you have 1911s, 2011s, Berettas, because obviously you need to have it for Berettas, Canics, CZs, Austrian high points, Glocks, Heckler and Koch, Shadow System, SIGs, Smith & Wesson, Springfield Armories, Tankfolio, Taurus, Walther, and Zev guns. So
correct. With some more coming. We officially partnered with SAR at the NRA Expo in Dallas. We have some SAR stuff coming out this year. We have bull barrel 2011s and lengths from 375, so like the baby rocks and things like that, all the way up to the Staccato XL. So these are coming out this year, and we talked about lasers. So, and Garth, you asked about magazine capacity. So on most guns, it's about filling capacity. I'm sorry, most guns it's about a mag's worth. So here, this Staccato has what we call our rapid fill adapter. Most of our lasers, you would have to screw onto the muzzle and screw off every time you want to shoot. As you just saw here, I filled up from the front of this rapid fill. So not only does that add convenience, you're not having to unscrew a laser every time, but this also adds approximately 40 to 50 shots to a full-size gun like this. So this Staccato that's typically a 25-shot gun is going to be like a 70, 75-shot gun on average.
Cool.
Only adding an inch to the end of the gun. And these aren't available right now. The Staccatos aren't, but they are coming relatively quickly down the pipeline.
Now that is awesome. And the availability of that and having a bunch of brands, because as you're saying, you're working with your gun, because it's important to get a feel for it. It's like in the past, there's been other products that done this. Like I have a Cert pistol and things like that because I used it for training, because at the time that was kind of the only option out there for doing that. But when you're working with these, like you actually get a chance to use your gun, get your trigger, all of those things. And the best part about that is using these guns that have your setup is most of these will also accept VZ grips. And the unique feature of VZ grips is they're machined from a solid block of G10, and G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered with mud, blood, or sweat. 17-degree grip angle and a wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, and color options and shorty versions available. 1911 grips with extreme customizability, standard slim palm swells, thumb notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and more. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available. And this coupon code is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 podcast.
You gave yourself away on that one. You started speeding up. I knew it was coming.
That was slick.
He got excited. He's like, "Oh, here it goes." So, but here's the question for you then. You said you're going to have an interactive package coming out for under $2,500. Is there anything on your website currently that you guys do that guys can have a target system for, or does your system interact with other target systems out there? Let's say, like I know Nick owns a Mantis system. Will this your CoolFire system work with the Mantis and stuff like that?
Yeah, so thank you for asking that, Garth. So yeah, a lot of our lasers are compatible with some of the more popular dry fire programs out there. So like the laser ammo IMTTS targets, the laser ammo smokeless range, anything branded Mantis works great. I'm actually talking to you guys. My phone's on a Mantis tripod for my Laser Academy. I personally use Mantis X10 with my stuff. Now, when you get into some of the other stuff, some of the cheaper Amazon special targets, and sorry to break your heart, Strike Man may not be a cheaper one, but our lasers aren't compatible with Strike Man right now. But it's compatible with a lot of the stuff out there. If anybody's got something specific they want to ask about, if it's not listed on the website, shoot my support team an email, and either if they can't answer it, I probably can, or I'll call somebody that can. So
Very cool.
That is awesome. Like I've used the laser app and paid for that for years, and that has been a great asset, to kind of be able to set up a phone and look at targets and do everything, because that was the forerunner to the Laser Academy for Mantis.
And that's the LASR. I have talked to a ton of people who have used it for years and who use CoolFire with it. They love, I never personally don't have any experience with it, but they love what LASR does.
Well, and it's because they're kind of the OG. Like I've had that. I think I bought my first set of software for it in 2015 or so when I started instructing. So,
and speaking of instruction, like CoolFire with the red dot, like that's not the new fad. That's the here and now. It's not the future. It's the here and now. Mm-hmm. I've talked to a lot of cops, a lot of people getting into like the carry optics, IDPA, USPSA, people like that are going to a red dot. If you are transitioning from iron sights to a red dot, this makes it a game changer, and I can tell you that personally. I've owned a Trijicon RMR for 3.5 years. Before this year, I put 50 or 60 rounds through the RMR just because it was on a Shadow Systems gun, and I went, oh, that's a $1,500 gun. I don't want to shoot a whole lot of wear and tear on it. And now I'm like, no, red dot's the future, and they're meant to be used. Like I took a red dot to gun sight and shot a 1,500 round course at gun sight, and was in the mud and the dirt and using CoolFire at night to practice with it, because I have this issue we talked about bad habits. With a red dot, I turtle my neck, and it's helping me come up out of my holster and keep my neck vertical and straight and not bring my shoulders up and turtle.
Yep. It's ride the escalator out. Don't.
Yep. Bring the red dot to your eye line, not the other way around.
And with instructors and new shooters, one of my favorite things about my job, part of the reason I do what I do is for that single mom in 2020, 2021 that bought a Glock 19 or bought a Smith & Wesson M&P or bought a P320 because she's got 2 kids at home and she wants to make sure that those kids grow up and be productive adults and that kind of thing. And maybe she can't get to the range every month or every 6 months, but she has a CoolFire, get some good reps in, and or an instructor has it for a student that needs some one-on-one coaching. Hey, here's where your grip is. Here's what you're doing with your grip. Here's what you're doing with your trigger. You can do it in lifetime with recoil in a classroom setting.
Yeah, and that is kind of invaluable. So one thing that I know everyone's going to be talking about is like, yeah, these guys are talking about it, but it always comes down to how much does it cost?
All right.
And
so cost is real, but the value is subjective. I think we would all agree on shooting stuff, the value being subjective. Cost on CoolFire out the door to get you set up with a basic muzzle laser with a bottle of SodaStream gas ready to shoot out of the box. You're going to be right in the $500 mark, and that's for the standard laser. That's not for the extension we saw in the Staccato. So what's that equate out to? About 2 cases of 9mm or a case and a half of 40 or 45.
Yep.
And it's going to go up from there, and you don't even have to use a laser. So something like with Mantis X is a gyroscope. I can get you set up, ready to roll. If you already have the Mantis for $400, and that bottle of gas is going to last you 12, 14, maybe 1,600 shots if you heat it just right toward the end. So it's going to pay for itself for sure by the end of the second CO2 bottle, even if you're buying the SodaStream gas.
Yeah. And that is one of those things that people need to realize is a thing with, yeah, there is some cost up front, but it is still very much so a more economical way to go through things, because we were talking earlier about, yeah, it's the middle of summer, but if you live somewhere where it is not 70 degrees year round and it's 112 degrees outside and humid, you might want to stay inside in the AC. And on the other side of that, if you live where it's negative 40 out in the wintertime, you're going to go, hey, I am going to stay down here in the basement where it's nice and warm and get a little training in and do some trigger time.
And at the end of the first bottle or two, well, yeah, you would have spent 2 cases. You would have bought 2 cases worth of ammo for that. What are you going to have at the end of the 2 cases of ammo other than a pile of brass and a dirty gun?
Yep. And
so that's why cost is what it is, and value. That's why I say value is subjective, because to me, the value of it way outweighs the cost.
I've looked at a lot of different dry fire systems out on the market, and truthfully, right now, I don't own a single one because I have a personal range on my farm, so I would just assume go put brass down range, no matter the time of year. That's just how I've always been. But to say the least, if I was going to go with a system, it would be the CoolFire Trainer, just because I personally like the idea of recoil in a dry fire system. A lot of systems out there don't have that. And so the realism of the repetitions aren't there for me. I can pull a trigger 1,000 times by racking my slide and putting one of those laser pointers down my barrel and seeing where I'm hitting on target and stuff like that. But without recoil and without, the action coming back and everything like that, it just doesn't feel realistic, and it just takes away certain key factors in any situation where you're actually shooting a gun. And so that's what I really appreciate. When I first saw you guys out at SHOT Show, I was like, that system makes the most sense to me. So, and I agree with you, most realistic option. So.
No, and that is awesome. There's also one other thing that we haven't touched on that is one thing that happens to everyone I know who has a laser cartridge that has done the dry fire. You'll show up to a match and they'll go, shooter, go ahead and load and make ready. And you go, okay, and you lock your slide to the rear and you dump your mag in and you go kink, and nothing happens because you have a laser cartridge stuck in your barrel.
Seen them do it.
The extractor won't grab them. Yep.
I've seen about 5 different guys do it, where we all like, oh yeah, hey, just a second, let me go grab a pen quick. I guess I wasn't ready. My bad. And a system like this where, yes, it's, again, I know that I've been really pushing it's your gun because it's almost like it's your dog, and that makes it okay. But it's still, you'll notice it because it's, got a big red mark on the, the barrel sticking out of the ejection port. And it's, oh, hey, I need to put my actual shooting barrel in.
Yep. And so you saw the silver barrel. Right now, I've got still some of these left for you, Gen. I'm just going to go ahead and do a shameless plug here. You Gen 2, 3, and 4 Glock 17 guys. We've got a special on these. $199 gets you set up with a barrel and recoil spring. You'll still have to get CO2, but we're talking about almost half price. So for you 17, 2, 3, and 4 guys, zero excuse not to get them. So you guys see that bright red in the ejection port. So we know, hey, there's can't load a bullet. And then the other one is nickel plated. So you see the red, can't load a bullet. So it makes it easy to identify to me, especially in a dry fire area. I'm super anal about dry firing, especially like my carry gun, my 19 you guys just saw. I will go to my bedroom. I will drop the mag out. I will rack it 10 times, make sure there's no bullets, finger it, and I will put my magazines in my underwear and my lag round. I will go, hey, shut that. And then I'm in my gun room where I am now, which is 2 doors down a hallway. Like, I am nowhere near a loaded magazine. I don't keep loaded mags in this room. Like, done.
Also, Drew, I am definitely not considering a Glock 17 because they do not work in my hands.
I can't shoot a P320. I bought one. I've got it right over here to the side on my table. If I do the whole close my eyes and draw it thing, I am way off of where I want to be. I pick up a Glock 17, Glock 45, and I'm done.
See, for me, if I pick up a Glock and go to shoot it, the Gen 4s aren't as bad because I add the biggest beaver tail they have. But if I pick up like a Gen 3 Glock, I will have 2 furrows cut in the web of my hand because just the way my hand is made up, the slide will come back and bite me every time.
See, I have to run the large beaver tails on the Gen 5s, but not because I have big hands. I'm 5'11", 6 foot, and 160 pounds. I have what I call crackhead fingers, so they're real long and real skinny. So I have to be able to get a good reach, but not too much finger everywhere. It just feels like I'm grabbing it in a fist.
Yeah, I just have these giant like hands for hands.
I got little crackhead fingers.
So that must mean I have the perfect hands because I can do both. So
I didn't say I couldn't do it. I just said it cut furrows in my hand every time, and I went, no, I will just continue shooting my Berettas until I switch to 320s.
That's fair.
Because I
want a Beretta so bad, but I want the Langdon, the PX4 that I've been seeing a lot of videos of. Oh, I want it so bad.
Yeah, so PX4s are cool. They have the rotating barrel, and you can't suppress them because of the rotating barrel.
You also, sorry to tell you PX4 guys, as much as I want to be one of you, we don't offer one because of the rotating barrel issue.
Yep. Which rotating barrels are cool. It's a really neat lockup system. Like, it's super innovative. And Garth is ambidextrous. I'm not sure if that's a food joke or a hand joke.
I mean, I don't know, man. I'm hungry right now. So that's the first thing I thought. I was like, damn, ham sounds good right
now. No, but now, Boone, we've been talking a lot about what you have. And you said a little bit about stuff you have coming out in the future. Is there anything else coming out in the future that may be kind of neat?
We are coming out with a AR-15 recoil kit, charged the same way with CO2, compatible with any rifle caliber with a star chamber. So we're talking 300 blackout, 5.56, 6.5 Grendel, 6.8 SPC for you dinosaurs. Haven't tested it in a 7.62 by 39 gun yet, but in theory it should work. And it's going to be laser built into the bolt in both visible red and IR. So it's not going to be worrying about changing batteries, zero in a laser, anything like that. It's going to always be center of bore. You're always going to see it. So that way, and even like think about mechanical offset. A lot of the carbine classes, you guys have been in them. You're shooting a lot 25 and in, or at least the classes I've been in, we shot a lot of rounds from 25 and in. So you have to think about mechanical offset.
Mm-hmm.
With our laser, you're going to be thinking about mechanical offset.
Yeah, mechanical offset is, I know I have preached about it before and been like, mechanical offset, mechanical offset, mechanical offset. And then go do a match and they're like, what happened? I'm like, I didn't do mechanical offset as I walk away. Like, I think Garth has watched me do that at a 3-gun match before.
I have. I've also watched you shoot your Beretta PCC and watched your red dot fail, and then you had to just make it up on the fly, and you did fairly good at it. So,
yep,
you got to do what you got to do. Pimping ain't easy.
Oh, it's there. I figured out a way, and I'm like, well, I think the dot was about here. I'm just gonna run with it, and I was good enough for what we needed to do.
That's all you got to be, is good enough. They preached that at Gunsight, which I was really surprised about. My range master was one of the ones that's been there a long time, and he said, you don't have to be perfect. We want you to be perfect, but good enough is going to make you a lot better if you just, boom, focus on center. Don't get yourself mad that you missed. And that's why I like my stuff. Hey, focus on your draw. Make sure the fundamentals are down and be good enough.
Well, and doing the fundamentals, like, this is one of those things that I'm going to tell everyone, like, this is a problem that I have when I start training specifically with like handgun and my like battle belt competition rig. I have done a couple million reps on draw stroke over the years. You know, that's what we do. You know, it's practice, pull up, draw, present, fire. To the point now where I'm going back and I have to stop myself again because those bad habits and training scars, where I'm back to, okay, now we draw, rotate, come up, build the grip, push out. Instead of doing, you know, the old bowler where you come up or go fishing where you're bringing it down. And luckily I didn't have a lot of that in. You know, I had a little bit of bowler in me, but that was just the way we were all taught back in the day when everyone ran an FBI cant.
I call it the wanted draw from the movie Wanted. When you swing it.
Yeah, that's what happens
when you have like the Joker with that big old long, like the old Batman movie with like the 14-foot barrel. And he's just,
the 16-inch revolver barrel.
Yep.
Yes, all of those things are very much so true, but being able to do that and do the slow repetition, but then, you know, it's okay, I don't put my finger on the trigger until I have proper sight picture, and training yourself into that, because it's not about learning how to go fast. It's going fast slowly.
I had a Wilson Combat pro shooter, shoots for their team. He does the local matches here, and he used to work with me. That's what he said. Exactly that.
Yeah, it's go fast slowly. And when you first hear it, you're like, what kind of kung fu voodoo are you talking about? But there's an old adage of slow is fast, or slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And that really starts to build up a lot of things. I am personally super excited for when you guys have the AR kit out, because then maybe we'll get some winter laser matches going.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And, you know, set up.
Well, I mean, we've got a simulator coming out. You could buy a simulator from me. We could get you set up with a pistol and AR kit, and then everybody could shoot an indoor rifle match, indoor pistol match.
It'd be the ultimate shoot house.
Yeah. Actually, you really could do a very good amount of training with this, because there are a handful of different things that you can do. I have seen it where you've done, so I've been some force-on-force stuff where we're using airsoft inside actual buildings. And setting it up for stuff like this, you could very realistically actually use the laser and do laser activated targets, and or at least recording it and do movement through a facility to actually do shots on target.
Or like I've got just these like paper, like dry fire you can get from Double Alpha or T-Rex or somebody. And CoolFire, we make our own reflective targets that's on sticky paper. You could get some reflective targets with one of our lasers, cut it out, put it on that. You could set it up however you want. And I've talked to some cops that have set up school shooter type mass casualty shootings where they have CoolFire, because in reality, shooting each other with airsoft is cool. It's cool, whatever. It hurts a little bit, stings. But then you're going to have to reload. You're going to have to sweep up the BBs. You're going to have to do all that stuff before the kids come back to school. With this, it's just, hey, you're the shooter. You're in one room, and you can be yelling, voice acting, whatever. We come in, boom, boom, boom. Nobody needs to get shot because it's just figuring out what we're going to do.
Exactly, and I think it's a great tool to have because, like we said, there's that, and it's if you have the laser modules on, it's not just you seeing it if you're using the visible laser.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of that we're practicing under nods, especially with IR stuff, because shooting under nods is inherently dangerous, and it can be, or well, I shouldn't say is inherently dangerous because it's whatever, but it adds a extra step because you think you have visibility, but you don't.
You end up point shooting a lot. At least in my experience with nods, it seems like I ended up point shooting using the laser aiming module, and my face wasn't way down here. It was here. I ended up point shooting, going, there's my laser, boom, there's my laser, boom. Which may be the right way to shoot on nods, may not be, but.
Oh, no, it's you use, like I've had to completely redo some setups to use with nods just because it's like, hey, I can't get, like, I have to roll things around, but it's not. We're just going to actually put it on a riser so that I can get it to where I can see through it with nods. And other than that, no, it's you use a laser aiming module, and that's how you do it. But old doctrine for teaching how to shoot with nods for the Army was you literally put it underneath your arm and activate the pec and just like hip shoot.
All right.
That's the old school GWAT stuff. I'm not saying that's the way to do it. I'm saying it's a way.
Under a 1-2 PVS 7 and you run into a door frame?
Oh, this was PVS 14. Maybe PVS, well, nobody had dual tubes back in the day. It was all single tube.
I've only shot under 14s, and then I have a buddy here local that's a cop that bought old school 7. So it's got the two eyepieces into the one tube. And I was like, dude, how did you? And he was in Baghdad, like the first invasion of Iraq, like early on 04, 05. And I was like, dude, how did you do anything with a 20-inch M16 and a single tube like it? I'd have been running into stuff and not able to swing a rifle.
Yeah, you figured it out. Like I was there about the same time, but my first experience with night vision, I've told the story before, they literally came through and they're like handed out a half dozen of them to us. And they're like, okay, hey, you guys are going to drive. We're doing this convoy speed's 40 miles an hour. Here's your night vision. Put it on. Let's go. It was like, what? Illuminators up against the glass. You can't see anything. It was terrible.
Nice. Very cool.
And now it's just cool. It's just cool to have them so you can look cool on Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, like I thoroughly enjoy it. It's just like I like looking at the stars with them. And I've done some training.
That's cool.
Yep. But I'm doing all that stuff. So Boone, before we come up, because I know we're getting close to our time with you here, is there anything else you wanted to add before you had to take off for the night?
Yeah, so if anybody here, anybody listening, ever has any questions about CoolFire, reach out to our support team. If you're wanting to know how to set up a perfect dry fire, and you're kind of interested in the Mantis or interested in some other stuff along with CoolFire, give us a shout. I'm part of the customer support team as far as product knowledge. So if you ever have any questions about will this fit, or hey, where are we working on this gun, or hey, I want to use CoolFire and this is my end goal, feel free to reach out to my support team. They're more than willing to help. And if need to, reach out to me. I am also the LE liaison, so if anybody's listening, watching, anything like that, reach out to my support team. They'll get you in touch with me. Whether you're an individual officer, TAC team, whole department, anything like that, all first responders and instructors, anybody like that qualifies for a 15% discount. So reach out to us. They'll get you hooked up with me, and I can help you improve your individual firearms training, your agency, your department, anything like that. Feel free to reach out, because we need to share the knowledge. Everybody could be a better shooter. Shooting is a perishable skill. Nobody thinks about it that way, but you can't shoot a Glock 19 tomorrow, a year from now, not fire any rounds, pick up a Glock 19 and score the exact same. We all need practice. We all need it. So feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in it, and we can work with you.
Yep, and 100%. I could not agree more that shooting is a perishable skill, and people do not realize that.
Correct.
And also, I'm going to murder your name here, Kaniski Art. We took this show over and have been doing this show since November of 2020.
Yes. Well, technically, January 21st is when or January of 21 is when we kind of fully got it. So,
yep.
Speaking of that time frame in the world, one more sale point here. We all know what's happening later this year. And in fact, one of you spoke about it in the podcast I was listening to earlier. Buy ammo, buy magazines, because magazines are generational wealth, right? You're going to have to think about training. There's always that chance that around the corner you can't buy ammo anymore, right? We all remember 2022, 2021. You couldn't find 9, you couldn't find 40, you couldn't find 45 ACP. You can always find CO2. So,
yes.
Valuable insight there.
Yep, and you took the words right out of my mouth where I was going to say, guys, remember, ammo is cheap, magazines are available. Now is the time to be stocking up.
Stock up on ammo, but buy your CoolFire so you can train, so you don't have to burn all that ammo.
Exactly. Do both.
Correct.
And
because,
I remember a time not too long ago when this would have been cheaper than a case of 9.
Yeah, that wasn't too many months ago.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's cheaper than a case of 9, so maybe I will pick it up. And
the AR variant is going to be the cost of a case of 5.56, roughly the cost of a case of 5.56 or a little more. And
yeah, so that is awesome. I cannot wait to get my hands on that one. But yes, Garth, do you have anything else to add tonight?
I do. For those of you guys who are listening to us and hanging out and still hanging in here with us, you guys should check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co for all your patch accessory needs. They have one. Nick has one on his microphone tonight, the Magnum Hot Loads patch. Join their Patch of the Month club. I believe it's like $15 or $20 a month. They send you an awesome Patch of the Month and a sticker. And they have tin signs. They do have shirts. I checked it out. They do have them. I know that. They have tin signs like the one Nick has there, the Tree Liberty. And, they're a fantastic company now located in South Dakota. So please support a South Dakota business and check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co.
Yes. And Boone, do they have anything else to do? Or you have anything else to add? We've talked about where they can find you, getting a hold of customer support. Now talk about where it is that they can find any social media or look at what you guys are doing or have any updates.
Yeah, so you can always follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We really don't do Twitter or X all that much. And Instagram is typically where we post a lot of photos of stuff coming out or events. If anybody here is listening, just happens to be at the IACP conference in Boston, the International Chiefs of Police Conference in Boston in October, I'll be there all 4 days with our simulator, with for sure some pistol kits, maybe a rifle kit. Come out and talk to me. I don't think I've got anything else until SHOT other than that. Just keep watch of our social medias. We are on YouTube. We're doing some new product stuff. We're coming out with SAR pistols, Bull Barrel 2011s, the Springfield Echelon, the AR kit, relaunching our Sig Sauer P320s. So I guess when that's done, I probably need to get at least you one, right? And then watch our socials, subscribe to our newsletter, anything like that on our website. We only send out newsletters once or twice a month. Typically, one of those is a Tech Tuesday that I write up for the technical support side, because there is a little bit of tech stuff that goes in here. Some wearable items like a striker tip, like what your firing pin hits, and some gaskets. But there's no wear on your gun, no wear on any of your stuff. So feel free to follow us wherever you see us, local or on the internet.
Outstanding. And thank you so much for that. Now, Garth, any final words?
Yeah, get training. And the best way to get training is to buy a CoolFire training system.
Love it.
See, look at that. Yes. And guys, everyone knows what I'm about to say. Remember, we live in uncertain times. You know, you are your own first responder. No one is coming to save you. Go out there, get training, stay safe, and stay armed. Support the people who support the show. Primary Arms, VZ Grips, 4Patriots.com, and Patriot Patch Company. Be sure to check us out on social media. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on Instagram. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on YouTube. AR-15 Podcast 2 on Twitter. AR-15 Podcast on Facebook and wherever podcasts are found. If you just want to drop us a line, let us know how we're doing, or give us a show idea. Make sure to send that email to AR-15podcast 2.0 @gmail.com.